Alright, check that out. Got us some 32s. So got them second hand. Got 2 mud terrains with a decent amount of tread there, and I got 2 all terrains. So let's put ATs on the front and MTs on the back. They're all BF Goodrich though, so they're all matching. And yeah, 200 bucks for the set, fitted, balanced, so that's pretty sweet. Bit disappointed. I was after 31s because I didn't want to lift this, I didn't want to break CVs, and yeah, so, but it was just what I came across was 32 by 11.5s, so I picked those up, threw them on, and you know what, going big is always better. So I'll whack them on later on this afternoon, and hopefully the back's not too bad, but hopefully the front I can just wind the torsion bars up a bit and get enough clearance, and they'll be good. So I can wind torsions on the front or re-index the torsions and put shackles on the rear springs, and hopefully at least get sort of an inch or two, and that's going to be enough to fit the 32s. If it's not, then we're going to have to start looking at body lifts, and I didn't really want to body lift it. Actually, I 100% didn't want to body lift it because I don't want to lose those bars, and I don't want to have the gap in between the bumper and the cab. So yeah, and if I body lifted it as well, even the running boards, they would have a 2-inch gap between it. It'd all look real stupid. So anyway, got this car trailer now. Cut this tree down the back, so we're going to have to fat load on there. So she's all loaded, strop down. Hopefully I don't lose too much of it on the way there. 15-minute drive to Biorich, but we're one step closer to having some more room down here, so I can pull the Skyline down there and have all 3 vehicles tidy as. Alright, let's fuck this bum hole. Your side looking. Get us a mirror shot. Get it right in there.
Right in there.
Anything falling off?
No, don't think.
Our 100k area. 60's nice. 60's overrated as a speed. Don't you think? Alright, we'll drop the trailer off. That mission's done and dusted. On to the next one. Let's see if these 32s fit the Strada. How much work I'm going to have to put into it to get it to not rub, and yeah. Alright, well, that's looking a heap tougher. So the negative offset on those wheels, I think they're about a negative 22, but they're sitting just outside the guard, so not illegal, but certainly nice and staunch. It is a bit close here, so I guess when I'm forward driving, if it flexed up, it could hit there, possibly there, but there's a decent amount of clearance, really. So what I'm going to do now though is I'm going to jump underneath, and I'm going to unbolt the torsion bars, and I'm going to re-index them one spline either side, and hopefully that just gives me a 1/2 inch and a bit more adjustment on the torsion bolts. So for a quick rundown for anyone that doesn't quite understand how torsion bars work, basically there's no springs in the front, there's no coilovers, there's no leafs obviously. All we've got is our upper and lower control arm, or our A-frames, and we've got a shock absorber right there. Now here's our torsion bar, this bar running all the way down to here with an adjustment bolt there. One on either side for each side, and here's the driver's side, running from its anchor point. So you do that, bolt up, it pulls that in, which actually twists the bar, puts torsion on it, and it's acting in the opposite force of the A-frame. So as you go over a bump, that bar's actually getting twisted. You're actually having to physically twist that bar, and that bar untwisting is literally, that's the spring. So by re-indexing it, basically there's a spline inside here. We take it out, we re-index it a little bit, so we set it at, it'll be at 0 I guess, at factory settings, but it'll be in a different position, so the A-frames will then, or the control arms, should go up and lift the vehicle a bit. What it's also going to do is, I'm not going to have to tighten that up to get the same effect, so it's going to give me an inch, and I'm still going to have the same amount of play, hopefully, in these torsion bolts. Alright, if I go from the centre of the room with your tape measure, all out to the guard, what do we got? 900, maybe 905. Alright, there's our measurements. 900 driver's side front, 920 passenger side, 950 passenger rear, 930 driver's rear. So that's just sag because the driver's always sitting in it. So there's always 80 to 100 kilos on that side whenever the vehicle's being operated, and the gas tank's also on the driver's side as well. So that's created just a bit of sag over the years on the driver's side suspension. So what we'll do to compensate is 2 splines on the driver's side torsion bar and 1 spline on the passenger side. Alright, so I've got the front jacked up now at the moment, so I've got 1 trolley jack under there, so that's under the frame. It's that wheel should rotate, so that's just holding the weight off of, or it's taking the load off of this torsion bar, relatively the spring. So now we're going to come down here, and here's our adjustment bolt. That's how you lift and raise it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that completely out, so we're going to take the top bolt off as we undo that. This is going to come down, we're going to take that completely out, then we're going to pull that out, rotate it anti-clockwise, 2 splines, back in, bolt back up. Now it will be under tension, so I've used that small jack there, and I'm using the big jack to put underneath the torsion bar to push it back up, but I'll show you right now. Ah, son of a biscuit! Alright, we've got a bolt, funny sort of concave washer. Now that's completely got no pressure on it at all, so I'll let that jig down and that should almost just fall off. Alright, I've marked it. I don't know if you can see me vivid into there. Now they are you can sort of wiggle them out, rattle them out. Oh yep, there you go, look at that, she just moved straight away. Now I'm just going to have to try and mount the camera somehow. Alright. Ooh. Alright, now we've got our torsion bar slid back in its spline, 2 clicks counterclockwise. This has now got tension on it, so you can't push it up free-handedly to get your little S-cam and bolt in wherever that spline there, so that'll never reach. So I put a jack under it, start jacking it up, it'll push it till you get it close enough that you can get this in there, get a nip of the thread, and we'll be away. Alright, well there it is. We've got our shock absorbers in there. We've got our 32s, sorry, all on there. I've fucked around with the torsion bars a bit, winding up and down, and I've got my final heights all locked in. So I went from 920 to 935, back to 930, and 900 to 920, up to 930 on this side. So I've got 930 across both sides, 930 mils from guard flare to pavement, and on the back was 950 on one side, 930 on the other. I haven't done anything on the back, and that's both sitting even now at 940 either side. So just take it out the driveway now, see if it rubs at all. Thinking on full lock when it compresses I might get a bit in here, bit of trimming maybe needed. So I know some of you might be thinking, there's the Hilux, what the fuck are you doing pissing with this bloody Mitsi? Well, the Hilux, it's definitely still there, it's going to go one day, but that's kind of one day. This thing, it's regoed, it's warranted, it's ready to go, it's had engine work done on it prior to me owning it. It's a real tidy truck. I just had to do a few mods to it, and I've got a nice truck I can drive around legally, you know. Feel we've all got to grow up at some stage, I suppose. So the Hilux is still there, but it's going to be sort of dedicated mud truck because, let's be honest, it's body lifted, it's like 4-inch suspension lifted, 35s. It was a petrol cab, petrol chassis and cab, so it's got the diesel in it, so it's not getting a waff anytime soon, and I've done the mods and alterations, so it's definitely not getting a cert tag either. Whereas this thing, she's all legal beagle, we've just done a little bit of a lift in it, we're going to do a bit of a trim on the guards, and it's running 32s, and it's going to be reliable and a good daily. Reliable, you say? Wait till you start breaking CVs in that IFS front end. Yes, I know.